Halo, ni aje? Venye unaweza ona pale background, leo tuko KICC. Nimekaa ile Rafa Conference 2025. Very powerful. Sasa tuko break. But now during the break I had an epiphany. I feel I need to share. As a believer, the most I find the hardest thing is actually inheriting the promises in which you believed. Because as you can see that in the Bible, from Genesis all the way to Revelation, God promises so many things. And the truth is that these things are good and they're things that we should desire and want. But the truth is most of us as Christians have not yet been able to access these things. So it's really praying and asking God, kwa nini bana, inakuwa aje that you've believed for years, yet there's no difference between you, someone who really believes in God, someone who is dedicated to serving God, someone who is committed to, honoring God, obeying his commandments, keeping his commandments. Yet wewe na mse mwenye haamini, ule mse mwenye anasema hakuna God, hakuna difference. And the fact of the matter is, kama kuna difference, chances ni huyu mse mwenye haamini ako better off compared to you who believes. Na hapo kwa hapo ndio mali God led me to this verse that is in Corinthians. I believe 1 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 14, where Paul writes to the Corinthians and says that but these things which are spiritual cannot be understood by the flesh. Are you getting? Now before I explain it, I need you to understand something. That man is a spirit, he has a soul, and he lives in a body. What do I mean? Unacheki venye msea kidedi, huwa tunasema, he's no longer with us. Na tunaona mwili hapo. It's a sign that even if you're not a believer, even atheists say the same thing, that he's no longer with us. Who is it that is no longer with us? He's in the body in the casket. Kiasi tu. Yeah, watu walikuwa wanapita, so sikuwa nataka kelele. But you can check that kwani sio msi yako hiyo mwili siko kwa casket, mbona tunasema yuko na sisi anymore? So what has changed? That right there is how you can tell that you are more than just the flesh, okay? So you are a spirit. You're a spirit and you have a soul and you live in a body. As you can notice, the Godhead is also in the same way. Jesus is the body, God is the soul, and the Holy Spirit is the Spirit of God, okay? Are you seeing? So because we are made in his own image, we also are given access to be in three forms. That is the body, the spirit, and the soul. You are the spirit, okay? Now let me explain. Everything has a chance or an opportunity to grow, to become bigger, to become strong, because all these three entities are alive. What do I mean? Is that by your body, there are things you can do that will strengthen your body, but they will never strengthen your soul or your spirit. You can eat, for instance. You can do exercises. You can go on hikes. These are things that are rewarding to your body. You can have sex. It's a nice feeling, but it's to the body. Have you seen? Now the soul is a collection of all the things that you believe in, all the things that you've learned. It also entails your feelings, your emotions. The soul is the one that makes the decisions for you, okay? Because every decision you make, it's based on what you know and what you don't know. For example, if I came here and I told you that I brought a lady to you and I told you that she's pregnant for me, your soul, based on what you know, you will inadvertently conclude that me and the lady have slept together, okay? Why? Because your body, or rather your soul, knows that for someone to be pregnant, especially for another person, is that these two people, they got naked at some point, they did things together, and so these are the results, okay? That's your soul. Your soul is the one that makes decisions. Your soul is the one that has feelings. Anytime you feel like, na feel sijui kufanya nini, na feel angry, na feel nini, it's based on your soul. These are the inputs that you get, and based on the inputs you have, the output is processed by the soul, okay? That is the soul. And then now when we go to the spirit, that is who you are in essence. Now, to explain now the verse here, 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 14, is that for as long as you dwell in the flesh, you are unable to access the promises that are in the Bible. Why? Because you cannot receive of them if you are fleshly. You cannot receive of them if you are earthly. So how can you become spiritual? And that is the question. The target of a Christian is to become a spiritual Christian. For a spiritual Christian, the easiest way I can explain is that in a battle between your flesh, your soul, and your spirit, if they're debating about something, then your spirit should be able to win. That's how you know that your spirit is strong. And how do you build your spirit to become strong? So let's say, for instance, unasikia kunyonga. You should just slow down and ask yourself, what is this going to satisfy in me? Is it going to feed the flesh? Is it going to feed the soul? Or is it going to feed the spirit? One thing I want you to know is that your soul is fed either way. Because your soul is the part of you that learns, okay? So whether you feed your flesh or you feed your spirit, the soul will learn from it. For instance, if in that case of masturbation, you decide to masturbate, your body, yes, will feel the niceness because it is chasing a certain fulfillment. But your soul will be able to interpret that, hey, when this guy was doing this thing, he felt nice. So it's a good thing. The next time when there's an argument about it, your soul and your body will work together, okay? But in the same way, you can train your spirit. So for example, let's say you have a small nudge to pray and you decide to pray. And after praying, you feel some burden has been released from you. Okay, I feel like the conference is back. I have to cut this short, but let me finish this up. That your what? Your soul, or rather your spirit, if you want to feed your spirit, something that you've done that feeds the spirit, even your soul will learn from it. You will notice that, hey, Charlie, this guy, when he prayed, he became more peaceful, he became more calm. So it's a good thing. It registers it as a good thing. It learns that this is a good thing, okay? So your soul is dependent on the fight between the spirit and the flesh. But hear this. Once you're a believer, Paul tells us, for our fight is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, rulers in high places, and all these things, okay? So our battle is not against flesh and blood, and that is something you need to understand first. Now, that being said, it's that once you are a believer, your focus is on the spiritual battles, and your reward is in the spiritual realm. So how do you become more spiritual? Very simple. It's by obeying the nudges of the Spirit. Now, God always speaks to us. God always directs us. God always whispers or, sends people to talk to us. But we always have the choice, whether we decide for the flesh to win or for the spirits to win. And today I'm giving you a challenge. Will you try allowing God to speak to your spirit? Will you try enabling your spirit to become stronger? It is not about how you feel. It is not about, how satisfying or whatever it is. It's about you inconveniencing yourself because you are operating from a point of knowledge and understanding that you see this is an activity that will strengthen my soul, or rather my spirit. This is an activity that will draw me close to God. So it starts from a desire to draw close to God. It starts from a desire to do His will. And from that desire, you seek understanding. That's where you go to read the Bible. And after you read the Bible, you get to know that, hey, Charlie, this guy was going through this, and this is how he conquered it, and this is how he pleased God. And now you do it. You do it practically. Not that it makes sense. Because you see, the Bible, or rather the world will tell you, when you get money, don't spend a lot of it so that you can have much more. Okay? But the Bible will tell you something completely different, that for you to have much more, you need to give so that you may receive. So it's different. It's not almost, it's completely different. Okay, so you are either pleasing the flesh or pleasing the spirit. And I pray that today you will decide to please the spirit. Because in pleasing the spirit, you become spiritual. And as you are spiritual, you don't only access the gifts of God, you also access His promises, His blessings, His anointings. So you want to speak in tongues, become a spiritual man. You want to heal the sick, become spiritual. You want to hold conferences, become spiritual. You want to become prosperous. God promises prosperity, but you cannot become prosperous through God's help if you're not spiritual. So how do you become spiritual? Listen to that still small voice that has been whispering to you, do A, B, C, D. Just try the best as you can to get to a point where if it is something that you discern, this could be God speaking to me, then I'm going to do it. And I believe that you shall indeed be blessed. Well, thank you so much for listening. Wacha mimi nirudi huko ndani. For now, ciao ciao. Be blessed.